Hello everyone, my name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
And today we have a reaction to a couple of short videos. That are related to the first reaction we ever did and the last dive we ever did together, which was in Mexico.
Yes.
And the videos about Mexico, I know we've hinted, we've dropped some exciting pictures about our exploration dives in Mexico. They're coming, I promise. But there's still a lot of content out there that we can react to. One of them includes the guide that we had on the last dive in Mexico, which was such an epic dive.
One of the most beautiful caves I've ever seen. And we're going to talk about this guide because this video was done by him, Robbie. Robbie is special. And let me tell you why he's special. Robbie is unbelievably humble, and I think it's safe to say, because I checked with Patrick Widman, that he is one of the greatest cave explorers around today. He told me that guy Robbie has laid 5 times more line than anybody you know. And we know some pretty big people, right?
Absolutely.
But you wouldn't know it. And where he took us, you can't get to. Only he found it, so you can't get to it because your vehicle will never make it. You're in the middle of the jungle. I mean, there was a jungle man out there walking around. I'm not kidding you.
Mexican Duck Dynasty. Yeah.
I was like, the guy was walking around. I'm like, Robbie, who is that? He goes, that's a jungle man. I'm like, what? And he lives in a hut. The guy just walks by. Yeah. By the way, I took to heart, for some of you, you don't want me, you want me to be more serious. So I decided to wear a more serious hat today. Is this what you mean? Because seriousness is important.
Yeah.
Look at that. Isn't that awesome?
Okay.
Anyway, guys, this video is insane that we're about to react to. Look at
But I want it before we get into the video. I promise this will be short. The cool thing about the last trip that we did in Mexico is that it was our 3rd time exploring new cave, new cenotes, new something. First time was in Roaring River last year, which we feature on the channel. The second time was in Cozumel, which we also feature on the channel, and we got to lay in a bunch of line in New Cave, which was cool. And the third time was this past, week or so that we spent in Mexico, more specifically in the Yucatan Peninsula, in the middle of the jungle, literally in the middle of nowhere, no cell phone signal. Like, it was out there.
I mean, you're getting eaten.
Out there. But after we were done exploring 2 cenotes that we explored in a little village called Sotuta, which I think it has like 100 people live there. It's a very small.
It's got 50,000 dogs and 100 people.
That's right. And no traffic lights. It's just like a free-for-all. After we were done exploring, we had one extra day of dive, or an extra day. Yeah. And we were kind of like, well, what do we do? Should we just go to Cancun and spend the day there? We talked about, can we take the ferry to Cozumel and go diving in Cozumel? Just drift diving, just to do something different than cave diving. And then Mike said, this guy Robbie, he's an explorer here. He's asking if we want to go diving. He said, next time you're in town, I'll take you diving, and it will be special. And we were like, Robbie who? Like, what? And then we said, look, he was nice enough to invite us. Let's go diving with Robbie and see what it is. And wow. And the wow factor was because we are cave exploring. And we've always said multiple times that cave divers look up to cave explorers. We feel like that's the next level. If cave diving is the black belt of diving, cave exploring is red belting. Like, we think it's the highest, the highest level you can achieve is to be a cave explorer. And we look up to cave explorers, right? So becoming a cave explorer ourselves was awesome. And you feel like, wow, like, I can't believe we achieved this level. And then you run into someone like Robbie and realize what a complete buffoon you are.
I'm a brand new tri-scuba person.
We are.
And I want to say also, and I know this is a long introduction, so they may not. I hope people will stick with this intro because it's long.
Right.
We are being invited, and we're having our hand held in cave exploration.
Right.
This is not for everybody. You got to be really careful. Don't think if you're a cave diver that you can go out and cave explore by yourself. Gus and I, we're not doing that. We're with Mike. Mike sort of decided, I'm going to mentor you guys and I'm going to show you what it is to cave explore because it's a whole nother level.
Right.
Please don't do it unless you're with somebody very, very experienced. And Robbie is so humble about it, and he's just amazing technique in the water. But what he did find blew us away, and he showed it to us. It's one of the most stunning things I've ever seen. But
it's coming to Dive Talk.
Yeah, we filmed it. This is insane because this is a siphon. So let's play it.
This is just to show people what next level means. When you're a cave explorer, what it means to be next level. So let's check it out. Look at the...
That's so scary. Look at
bubbles going in. And this is for those
that are going to go down.
This is for those who say, look, if you're this...
Cave diving is often misleadingly called the most dangerous activity.
If you are lost or whatever, just follow your bubbles up. Just follow your bubbles. It will tell you where to go. Well, the bubbles here go down. So now what?
With good training and the right attitude, the diver can reduce the danger to a relatively small residual risk.
I'm going to let it play for a second, but then I got to pause with an explanation. But watch this.
Ooh. Yeah, follow your bubbles.
Wow, that's powerful, Syphon.
But if the conditions are like here, it might be true.
Okay.
A tremendous current pulls the explorers into the cave interior and makes it extremely difficult to get back to the surface.
That's the problem. That's why I wanted to play to that point. Listen, for those of you that don't know about caves, a siphon means that the cave is basically sucking you into the cave. But think about it. If you have an emergency, which direction do you want to be going faster in and easier to get out in? The exit. Right? You have an emergency. You got to get out.
Let's go.
In this case, they would have to fight the current to get out. You're already in an emergency, right? So now to have to fight the current to get out, that's why you don't dive siphons. I mean, very, very few people dive siphons. Robbie's at the next level. He's way beyond us. But even for him, he texted me and said, look, this was scary and dangerous.
Yeah.
I just wanted you to understand.
Yeah. And let's talk about the 3 types of caves that we dive. So we have siphons, as you see right here. There's also springs, which are the ones that we like to dive because, again, as Woody mentioned,
water's coming out.
You're fighting the current on the way in. But if you have an emergency or if you finish your dive after pushing through for an hour or whatever, just letting the river take you on the way out is such a blessing. It's so awesome just to drift out, right? All the way to the exit. And then you have caves that don't have any current, which are typically in Mexico. The caves don't have a whole lot of current. And some caves in Florida, like Peacock Springs, you don't have any current. You're just swimming and you can swim. It's easy to swim in and out. It's the same. So.
Okay.
Look at that lobster.
So it's a sea cave.
What are you doing here, dude?
None of the gas safety rules of cave diving are still valid here.
So they're surveying with this mechanical device.
Now listen to what she said. It's interesting what she said. She said that the gas management rules for cave diving are not valid here. Just think about that. Because the air that you're using on a way in on the siphon, that you're not swimming, it's just pulling you in and all of that, it's a lot easier than the one you're going to suck on the way out against the current. So if you use a third, just drifting deep into the cave, bro.
Double to get out. Against a siphon of this nature.
With no emergencies.
I mean,
double.
I would at least double it because this is a strong siphon. Yeah. I mean, you saw that.
So it will be interesting to think what Robbie does for gas management. I want to talk to him about that in the future because it's interesting. Because on a spring is easy. On a spring, you can do rule of thirds because if you use 1/3 going in against the current, on the way out, you don't have current. So you have 1/3 to come out that you can sleep on the way out and still not even use a third.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's easy. It's way more conservative if you do rule of thirds on a spring. But on a siphon?
Yeah. It can be really dangerous.
I'm sure the cave diving experts will chime in down telling us what a siphon gas planning is.
Good.
Well, you guys are idiots.
We are.
You don't even know that in a siphon, you use 1/10 of the air with your right hand.
They're so warm and welcoming.
Look at those bubbles being sucked into the cave.
Exploring high-flow sites downstream is extremely dangerous. Do not attempt to do this unless you are an underwater cave explorer with a lot of experience.
That's
Definitely.
You will probably not survive.
Right. You will most likely
You're gonna
not
die.
survive. That's right.
So there he is. So Robbie, I'm going to put more information up about him soon. I'll put his email. Robbie will take you as a cave guide in the Yucatan to caves that you will never get to see on your own. He's unbelievably humble.
Robbie, don't take him to that cave that you took us. So you keep that special.
He's going to, and you will want to go with him because he's just a gentle soul, amazing diver, and he found these caves, guys. And you can't really get to him because you won't have the vehicle to do it. We kind of had to pay some people off even to go past a little barrier. Like all of a sudden, we come up to this rope. I'm like, what's this? He goes, well, this is the payoff point.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
But
how
anyway,
much is it? How much is it? Money.
Yeah, whatever.
Like what?
And
but how much? He's like, well, how much do you have?
Yeah,
500 pesos.
Give it to me.
500 pesos.
But anyway, I really am impressed by Robbie. One other thing that we'll say is that Robbie was using a device here to survey the cave.
Right.
And surveying is even another level of cave exploration, right? Because now you don't just lay the line. And in our case, we were learning to survey with Mike, and we were doing it, I'll call it the manual way, where you have knotted line every 10 feet, and you're counting how many knots there were in one particular direction. And then when you change direction, you take a new heading and you count how many knots there were to map how many feet there were. But Robbie's taking it to the next level with this technology. This device is measuring it in like 3D, man.
No. But the device that he used in this video.
Well, not this one, but another one.
The device he used in this video, basically you put it on the line. It doesn't have to be knotted. He said I don't even waste time with that. It's just regular line. And then you put the device and just run it through the line, and it's analyzing depth, azimuth, distance, just everything. And then it downloads everything into a computer, into an Excel spreadsheet with distances, depths, everything, instead of us doing it by hand the way Mike was teaching us.
But what I'm getting at is I think you have another video.
That's right.
Wait till you see the technology he uses for this thing. It makes a 3D gorgeous image of the cave.
Well, because the tough part about it is that when you survey the cave, you get what is called a stick map. It's just stick in this direction, that direction, and the tunnels go this way or that way. It's not beautiful like the maps that we look from Rory in one of our videos. I'm going to link it up here if you haven't seen it. Rory makes these beautiful maps that tell you how big the tunnels are and how deep, and
he's an artist.
It's unbelievable. We can never do that. And everything we do, and we attempted to make one of these. We actually made, well, by we, I said Mike did 99% of the work. We were just idiots. Go to that wall, and how many feet is it?
Yeah, the one portion I did, I totally...
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. This is coming
well
on a video.
You'll see.
Yeah.
You'll see my performance.
But anyway, so the way we do it is we literally, we drop a line in the middle of this cave or the hole or whatever, and then somebody stays at the line, the other person dives with like a measuring tape, and you go to the wall and it's like, okay, so this is 20 feet, and you write it 20 feet at 100 feet, whatever. You write down the measurements, and then hopefully you can draw, and Mike's really good at this, you draw the cave how you think. Well, we already established that Robbie is at another level. So the way Robbie does it, it's like this.
Look at this.
What can
it's actually beautiful. Look how he controls this thing also. Perfectly gliding. Look at that.
It's not a Wraith. This is a 3D mapper of caves.
Wow.
I wonder if he is activating or if it's just automatic every second or whatever.
We'll ask him. He'll give us info.
Look at this thing. And why not keep it on the whole time? Just like a solid line because of battery?
I mean, if I'm holding that thing, I'm going to drop it. It's going to be like up in the air at one point. I mean, look at that. Perfect precision. So that's going to make a 3D image of this cave. you know.
Unreal.
Really, really cool technology. So like in everything, I mean, you know, we're going to be able to have virtual diving, cave diving. You know, there's technology coming out, and you're going to get to experience that.
Dude, that's a new business we should look into.
Yeah, no,
record the diving 360, and then you put in like a VR.
Yeah, I mean, you'll
headset.
be competing against Apple. We're probably not going to be able to compete against
maybe
them,
they'll
but
buy us out.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Know.
But my overall sort of summary of this is that there are different reasons why people like cave diving. It's an interesting conversation. I like the aspect that I get to see something that I know very, very few people will ever get to see. I've been blessed. I've been given the opportunity to go with the gear that I'm diving with, the Kiss rebreather and so forth, and get to see things that just, I don't know, 1% of 1% of 1% of the world will ever get to see.
Yeah.
Other people, I think, Gus, you're really good at cave exploration. You have a good sense about it. You ley line very well. And I think you like the mission part of it. It seems like, right?
Yeah.
You like, and the newness of what's around that corner. If I'm exploring it, no one's ever seen it.
Yeah.
Forget about 1%. It's brand new. And all of that is okay if you do it under the respect of a mentorship.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important message. And Mike talked to me about this and asked if we would do more of that, because what we don't want to do with this channel is encourage people to push their own limits, thinking that's so cool, I can do that. No, you can't. You will die.
I mean, you can always do anything once.
You could easily die doing this stuff. And I would not be doing this if I wasn't with a mentor, which is Mike,
Robbie,
and guiding
Mike,
these guys.
Brian
Robbie
Sorensen.
Robbie has devoted 25 years of his life now. He picked up and moved his life to explore these caves in the Yucatan. And one more thing about him. Robbie, although I didn't really understand the explanation, I know I'm going to butcher this, has developed this study. He had a theory that all the caves, frankly, even past the Yucatan, are all related to the original asteroid that killed the dinosaurs and made fractures. It's like dropping a rock on glass, and all the fracturing that you would see in the glass, the splintering, is why there are so many caves there. And it's even affecting the flow in the Caribbean Ocean. And that's all part of the flow that's flowing through these caves. Yeah. And he's wrote this study to prove that, and other things, other scientific words he used, which I had no idea what he was talking about.
Right.
And he's done that. And he's just like, oh, by the way, I've done this, like casually. Yeah. And he sends me a copy of this 89-page, extremely well done, footnoted, documented study. And I'm going to put it out there in a few days for people that may want to just see it. I'll put it on a OneDrive, and I'm pretty impressed. Robbie, you are unique and special, and thank you for taking us.
Let's just make sure people know we're not sponsored by Robbie or having a business agreement with Robbie that if you go cave diving with Robbie, we're going to get a kickback. Zero. Nothing. We just love the guy. Like, he was awesome.
He showed us something that in the world that not many people have seen, that he discovered, and at least for me is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Yeah. It's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, caves. So you'll see footage of it, by the way. I videoed. I was the video guy.
Right.
And that's coming. All these videos are coming.
Cave exploration videos from Mexico are coming. And like Woody said, don't try this at home. Right. But anyway, we started our journey in cave diving years ago. And the first reaction we ever recorded in this channel, which also was a couple years ago, was about this cave in Texas called Jacob's Well. And obviously somebody made this video. I don't think they were even divers, if I remember correctly. And they were all like, it's like fearmonger. It's like Jacob's Well. You go in and you die. Like, okay, hold on one second. Like, the caves are... Cave diving is not like that. You can easily get lost and die. Like, no, that's not how it works. We use line. There's a technique to it. Granted, the people that they were talking about in that video were not cave divers. Apparently, there were some kids that had like one flashlight between the two of them. It was bad, and they try to go super deep. But there was just a lot of like misconceptions, even about the well itself. They were talking about the chambers of the well and how nobody has ever seen the fourth chamber. And then we talked to Mike after the video, and he said, "I've been to like the 60th chamber." Right. So. Right, no surprise. But it's all of the same thing happened with that Strit or whatever in the UK. It's like everybody has died. Nobody even knows how it is. And there is exploration that was done in there in the 70s, and they found nothing. They mapped it, and they called it a day. So zero interest to dive. I do, however, want to dive at Jacob's Well. But I found a video
definitely
of the explorers of Jacob's Well, the Jacob's Well Exploration Project. They've done tremendous work at Jacob's Well, documenting everything, surveying everything. And this is a short video that I want to end this reaction with because it's fascinating.
Absolutely.
We started with that reaction. Let's finish this one reaction with a video about Jacob's Well.
All right.
Let's take a look.
The only thing you really hear is yourself breathing. Otherwise, there's no sound. And it's just a very tranquil time.
It is.
To basically decompress your body away from all the external things going on in the world, and it's just quite relaxing.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And when you're on a
it's really funny because when we come out here and we're setting up for a dive, especially in the summer when there's a lot of guests and swimmers, they're always asking a ton of questions. How far does it go? How deep is it? How deep is it right here? And so forth. So most people never know the extent of the swimming hole that they're swimming in.
Jeff. And that's true. And we do get those questions at Ginny Springs.
It's a difficult cave to dive.
How far is the cave?
Without the proper training,
I love that people are curious.
It could be deadly.
It definitely will be deadly.
Members of our team, back around the year 2000, attempted to investigate the well. They were told by some local residents that it was more or less a waste of time because the well only went down 100 feet. To date, our team has mapped over 7,000 feet of cave.
Whoa. Wow, that's big.
There's areas in here that you literally have to take a tank off to squeeze through. Then again, there's areas big enough to drive car or truck through if you could get back there.
There's not as much things that you would see there as opposed to open water because there's no daylight. Main thing you're seeing is the different striation levels in the rocks, different things from different periods of time that are embedded in the rocks.
What is striation? He used that word. I'm just curious. I don't know exactly.
What is it?
Striation, yeah. What is that?
Doesn't everybody know what that is? Striation?
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with triangulation. I want you to know that.
For sure.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay.
That's a start of the explanation.
Yeah, he said
no, the different striation in the rocks, the different contour. But I may have to Google it a little bit.
The sheer beauty of
let's Google it while it's playing.
An undisturbed area.
Yeah, undisturbed area.
At this point in time, we hold the only research permit for Jacob's Well.
Greg.
And diving by the general public is strictly prohibited.
Hook us up.
You can't understand something until you research it.
What?
I was right. In geology, a striation is a groove created by geological process in the surface of a rock or a mineral.
There you go.
I was pretty close.
Well, good for you.
I knew it wasn't triangulation. So that's about 500 comments coming.
Our cave map has been used in at least 2 different litigations to limit development over the aquifer. So we think there's potentially more cave here, but it's yet to be discovered.
The elbow. I want to go to the elbow.
Over the years, it's got to where Jacob's Well has no flow or very, very little flow.
Wow.
Which is sad because if it continues down the path that we're going, one day Jacob's Well will probably dry up.
From development, from people using the water?
A lot of that is just due to the fact that the area has grown up so much and people are using so much water out of the ground. One day this resource might not be here.
Isn't that amazing that we can use that much water that a spring spewing out, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of gallons a day, can go dry?
The Salt Lake is going dry.
I mean, it does show you, though, we have to be respectful to the environment. You can destroy it. As much as you may not think we have an impact.
Yeah.
It needs to be preserved. You can't have nature with development right on top of it, especially when something's as fragile as that aquifer and that cave system.
Yeah.
People need to appreciate it and protect it.
Yep.
It's gonna jump with flip-flops.
Looks awesome.
Yeah,
Big
it's
enough
awesome.
to DPV in it. It's pretty cool. I would
Yeah.
love to go. I wish somebody
do-
would invite us.
We do get questions though from that first reaction a lot about would you dive Jacob's Well? Absolutely. I will go tomorrow if I could. If Greg, come on. Just hook us up.
I will
what I'm saying?
carry your tanks.
For sure. We'll fill him with the van, that's for sure. We can do that.
Your burrito at Taco Bell, I'm your guy.
But that's it. Nothing more expensive than Taco Bell.
No, I would get him a 2 for $5 at Burger King or whatever he wants. I mean,
Okay.
I'm like that.
Yeah, we're nice like that. But absolutely. I mean, we would love to dive at Jacob's Well. People have been way beyond the fourth chamber. I mean, it's not a mystery. It's just a cool cave that we would love to have the opportunity to dive one day. And in case you haven't seen our reaction to the Jacob's Well video and all the inconsistencies and straight up nonsense, I'm going to leave it right here. Hopefully, before you finish watching that video, Greg has given us a call to invite us to dive Jacob's
My
Well.
phone's beeping. Oh, no, it's not Greg.
Is it? No, it's
No.
not Greg.
Bye, everybody.